Ah, the 90s. Most of the PC games I've played in that decade were shareware games, and many of those were contained on those awesome or stupid, depending on how you look at it, shareware compilation discs of 1,000 games or more. This week's review is another one of those games I first played off of one of those Jazz Jackrabbit. If you've never heard of it, you must not have been much of a PC gamer back then. So here's the deal. It was developed by Epic Mega Games, the same crew who did games like Jill the Jungle and Zargon. This time, the game resembled something much more similar to a game that combines the action and shooting of Contra with the speed of Sonic. Yeah, I know, very interesting. So the story is based on the old tortoise versus hare tales from long ago. Jazz's girlfriend, Eva, is kidnapped by the nefarious Devon Shell, who sends off all sorts of creatures to contend with Jazz in his journey to get her back. There's not really much else to the plot, but once again, this is one of those games that doesn't really need anything more in depth. So the gameplay. Where do I even start? You obviously play as Jazz, and there are probably one of two things you'll notice. One, Jazz doesn't hop on enemies like many other platforms of the time. Instead, he has a gun. His default projectiles are unlimited, but there are other weapons that you can obtain, either by simply grabbing the smaller orbs, or by destroying the larger ones. These weapons contain a flame shot, which is just a larger round, a rocket that fires 2 blasts at a slight angle, and a bouncy grenade-like shot that can bounce higher when fired at a higher elevation to the ground. In addition to these, you can also find some somewhat rare TNT, which acts as a screen-clearing bomb, but still must be selected before using, making it a bit more difficult to use in a pinch where you need it immediately. These weapons may seem different, but truthfully, I found the flamer to be the best. The missiles are okay when you're trying to attack something that's just barely out of reach, but those damn bouncy grenades just feel useless to me for the most part. Yeah, they're great for boss battles, but that's about it. So I mentioned two things you might notice. The second is the speed of the game. This isn't sped up. This is the speed of the game it will normally run at. Jazz goes from 0 to 600 in a second, and much of the game is geared towards that kind of speed. The levels are created to take advantage of the momentum of the game, so be prepared to be running at full speed a lot. And that's not even counting the speed power-ups that you can find, being Jazz quick enough for even Sonic to do a double take. But truthfully, that's really the only problem with Jazz. Sometimes the game is running too fast for its own good. Enemies are fairly large in design, and so is Jazz, so accidentally running into an off-screen enemy has a very high likelihood of happening. So instead of saving your ammo, you might be running down long corridors spamming a shot or two every few seconds to make sure you don't run into something that may kill you. Thankfully, Jazz does have a life meter. Depending on the difficulty, he can take either 3, 4, or 5 hits. There are carrots littered throughout the stages to replenish his life, and extra lives can be found as well. And best of all, no matter how fast you're running, there are absolutely no instant kill pits to be found. Sure, there are spikes, but they won't immediately destroy Jazz, and so gives it a chance to change course to safety. Excellent design choice in that. There are other things that may aid you as well. You can find a shield that will take a single hit from Jazz. There's also a caged bird that you may find at times. Let him out and he'll automatically shoot what looks to be seeds at any enemy that gets close to Jazz. However, if Jazz takes a hit, the bird disappears, so you definitely want to keep him for as long as humanly possible. There's also time bonuses and rapid fire power-ups, although I never understood why there are sometimes multiple groups of them, since one does the trick. There's also a chance to find a red jewel in some of the stages. Grabbing this will grant you a chance to complete a bonus stage at the end of the current level. These bonus areas are very reminiscent of Sonic's 3D zones, mostly like the UFO thing from Sonic CD or the blue orb from Sonic 3. Jazz has to run on a path collecting a certain amount of jewels while avoiding hazards. Only one will kick him from the stage outright though. If you can grab the specified amount of gems, you'll earn an extra life. Simple. Other than the fact that sometimes Jazz will automatically start rolling uncontrollably though. I don't know why it happens, but it does. As for the stages themselves, they are each lined out identically. The game is an episodic affair, each containing 3 planets, and each of those is made up of 2 levels each. After clearing all 3 planets, you get to fight a boss, in which it's Devon Shell in a different machination. These bosses are fairly easy, especially if you can figure out where to hide. At least from what I've played they are. Although I will admit that my copy of the game really did not like to be recorded, so I gave up trying a bit through the 3rd episode. The graphics of the game are bright and colorful, and each planet has its own distinct theme to it. Dymedus is vibrant and really feels like it's part of a Sonic's universe, with its look and feel. Medievo is a castle stage complete with a dark, foreboding red and black, and a friggin' sweet silhouette of Devon showing in the rain. God, I love this game. But even with the amazing gameplay, the pure sense of speed, and the beautiful worlds, there's one thing that I keep coming back to Jazz for. The music. Oh god, the music. I don't know if I can explain it in any other way than orgasmic. Okay, maybe that's the wrong word. Don't think I ever used orgasmic in a review yet. But I guess there's a first for everything. But from the demo of the game, I knew I needed to somehow get the full version. Dymedus was awesome enough. I still remember hearing these instruments all meshing together, and the drums and bass just blowing apart my speakers. But then I got the Tube Electric. And holy crap, I think I shit myself when listening to this for the first time.
Yum!
And if I had shit myself at that point, I don't know what was left when I got to Medievo. No words can explain how freaking speechless I was at hearing just how threatening the music was for this level. Adding the helmeted enemies and the flying swords, and hot damn, I was in love. I would highly suggest anyone that enjoys game music to look up the OST. I think I would say that Jazz Jackrabbit has one of the best game musics ever, if not the best. I usually don't spend that much time on music, but I can't help it. Whoever the composer is, I salute you. This game's soundtrack is a masterpiece. Pure musical bliss. Is there anything else I need to say about Jazz Jackrabbit? I don't think so. I just freaking love this game. Other than the occasional cheap shots when the game is running a bit quick and you can't react fast enough, I can't really think of any other flaws. The music alone is enough for anyone to give this game a shot. I know I keep talking about it, but damn it, I stand by what I say. Anyway, you need to play this. It's now available on GOG, and I would highly recommend you purchase it, especially if you enjoy games like Jazz. Go get it. Now. Final score? 10 out of 10. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.